Okay, so we will be cooking Mexican wraps today. The ingredients we use is sweet potatoes, pepper, sweet corn, cheese grated, fresh herbs as in basil, dry herbs as mixed herbs, a little bit of salt and oil. So initially we need to peel the potatoes. So per wrap you will need this size of potato, 2 potatoes per wrap. So I'm going to just do this. I'll peel the potatoes, you slice it and put it in the steamer. You turn the steamer on and leave it for a while until the potatoes have gone nice and soft. So this is the boiling of the potatoes, and we will be going on to step 2 now. Step 2 is these are boiled potatoes. They're not completely mashed potatoes, so they're soft enough. You can mash them up or you can put them into small chunks. But today I'm going to be mashing these potatoes. I won't mash it as a mashed potato, but chunky mash. So this is what I'm doing. All the potatoes are nicely boiled and they've been mashed. You may need to just step it down a little bit because it does get stuck to the masher. If you have a look, these potatoes are nicely mashed but not completely mashed. They're chunky mashed. I've got a pot of basil, fresh basil, potting basil. I've washed the basil, chopped it up and put it in here. So this is ingredient 2. Ingredient 1, potatoes, boiled and slightly mashed. Ingredient 2 is basil. Within like about 10 to 12 potatoes, I've chopped up medium to large size of red peppers. It can be red or green peppers. So you deseed the peppers and chop them up nicely. I will show you how to deseed the peppers in a minute. So that goes in the mashed potatoes. The third ingredient is sweet corn. The sweet corn, if you're using frozen sweet corn, important thing is you put the frozen sweet corn in boiling water to thaw it up and remove the water and wash it back in the water. Let all the water drain. You should not have any water going in the mixture. If you're using tinned sweet corn, you don't need to put it in the boiling water. You still need to drain and make sure all the water is out. So the third ingredient is going in. So the amount of sweet corn I put in is a 3/4 pound of sweet corn, about 2 kilos of potatoes, 2 peppers, 1 pot of basil. And I'm going to get the fourth ingredient. I've washed a couple of chilies. It gives a nice kick to the dish. Usually Mexican dishes usually are slightly spicy, but if you don't like it too spicy, just put a couple of chilies, not too many. There are 2 types of chilies. One is slightly milder and one is a bullet shoot. So these are bullet shoots. I'm only going to put a few in there. Basically you need to chop it up. So I'm using a food processor. I put the chilies in there. I'm just going to turn the food processor on. It's got to be chunky or a slightly, not completely minced, but chunky chopped. If you do not it's quite important when you handling chilies to use gloves. because the seeds can be very hot. So either use a gloves or spatula to touch. If you touch the chilies, then your hands can burn. So it's quite important you use gloves, especially when you're using chopped chilies. These chilies will be going into the mixture. As you can see, the chilies are slightly chopped. They're not completely minced, slightly chopped. There are two types of chilies. They're mild chilies and the bullet shoot. So if you're using the bullet shoot, use a smaller amount of chilies. The mild chilies are not so hot. These are bullet shoots. So I'm going to use half of these going inside the mixture. So far we've got sweet corn, peppers can be in any color, yellow, red or green one. I chose red colors to give it a nice color. So I've got some green, some white and some red in here. The next ingredient we're going to be using is mixed herbs. This gives a nice flavor to the dish. I'm going to be using about 2 teaspoons. You can see around about 2 teaspoons. I'll measure it up. About 2 to 3 teaspoons of mixed herbs. That all goes in there. Not too much salt, as we're going to be using mature grated cheese. So, but just because the potatoes are quite bland, we need to add a little bit of salt. So I'm going to be adding about 2 spoons, level spoons, as you see, 2 level spoons of salt in there. There it goes in there. I'm also cooking for one of the person who is vegan. So for her, I'm going to opt out not putting any cheese or put vegan cheese. The rest of them are not vegan, so I'm going to be putting some cheese. But before I add the cheese, I'm going to take out a little bit for this lady. So let me just grab a spoon and I'll do that. Tell me when ready.
It's ready.
Okay, we're going to give it a good mix to this mixture. It's got sweet corn, potatoes, basil, mixed herbs, a little bit of salt. I will be also adding some cheese, grated cheese. I'm going to be using mature cheese. So before I do that, I'm going to take out some for somebody who's vegan. So per portion or per wrap, you will need a spoonful. So I'm going to do 3 wraps for her. 2 and 3. So this is for a vegan person. I am going to be adding mature cheese, which is already grated and ready. So the amount of cheese I'm going to add is around about 1/3 of the mixture. You can add more, it's to your taste, but I'm going to add 1/3. So around about 1/3 of that is the cheese. So you can see all the mixture is done. It's a very easy dish and it's very, very versatile. You can use the filling that you want in here, but these are the fillings I normally use. You can use other fillings like kidney beans. You can substitute the potatoes with kidney beans because the Mexican people do eat a lot of kidney beans as well. So you can use tinned or homemade boiled kidney beans, sweet corn, peppers, and just herbs. So now the filling is ready. We're going to go on to step 3, where we're going to use the wraps, warm them up and make small parcels ready to make the chimichangas. Today I'm going to be using ready-made wraps, but you can make your own wraps. To make your own wraps, you need plain flour, a little bit of oil, boiling hot water, and you bind the dough and just roll it down and just cook it. So I'm using an Indian type of frying pan. You can use any frying pan to make this. These are ready-made wraps, so it's nicely already cooked, but it's better just to heat it up a little bit before you put the filling in. So that's what I'm doing. It's The heat is on medium to high. Once the pan is really hot, you can go on slowing the heat down. So this is one of the wraps already done. It literally takes 2 seconds to cook the wrap. So that's one. I'm going to do two and show you how to make the parcel and how to complete the dish. So this is the second wrap I'm making. Bearing in mind this frying pan will be hot, so if you not confident enough with the heat, you can use a spatula to turn it around. This is the last step, one before the last step to complete the Mexican chimichanga wraps. So we just preheated the wraps which were ready made. You spread the filling in there nicely, and all you do is you make a parcel. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, it becomes a square parcel. So I'm going to do this again to show you how it goes. So you put the filling in the middle, one side, and then you go on the side, 2, 3, 4. To secure this parcel, you need some skewers, the smaller skewers. So I'm going to put the skewers so it doesn't open up when we're frying it. It's going to be a very shallow fry, so we're not going to be using a lot of oil. It's quite a healthy dish, so we don't fry them, we just shallow fry them. I just put 2 skewers in here to hold it tight, so when you're frying, the filling doesn't come off. So I'm going to do one more to show you again. Similarly, we're going to put a scoopful of filling in here. Spread it a bit. This is a heavy dish, so you can use it as a main course, and it goes with salsa and sour cream. Again, 1, 2 of the sides and the top bit. I'm going to do it again. So the bottom one, the 2 sides and the top. Same thing, just use a skewer and secure it. So now I'm going to be showing you how to shallow fry this, and the dish will be ready. Okay. I'm going to be using the same frying pan that I use for warming up the wraps. So basically it's already warm. So I'm going to spread a little bit of oil and put it on the frying pan, and the oil goes on both sides. So you just shallow fry this. This can be made well in advance, and you can put it in a baking tray and cover it up. So this is how it should look. The color of it should be light brown color. So only like a half a spoon of oil is gone on either side. This is the second one I'm frying. Obviously the first one you fry, you need a little bit extra oil, but the second one, because the frying pan is already oiled, you just need to just kind of spread the oil. I bring this closer to you. It's a very light brown color. So the heat should be low. It shouldn't be very high, otherwise it gets burnt. So this is the color you're aiming for. So this is a dish already made. It goes with the salsa. So I'm going to be showing you how to make the salsa now. Our next one is salsa, and then how you serve this dish. Thank you. ready.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm going to be showing you Mexican salsa. It's a very easy dish and it's very easy to remember. So if you have 1 tin of good quality, make sure you buy good quality tomatoes. They're chopped tomatoes. So 1 tin of chopped tomatoes, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of sugar, and 1 teaspoon of cumin. The best way to do cumin is you roast the cumin under the grill. When it's cool, you grind it and keep it in a small jar. Make sure you only do a little at a time because the smell stays nice if it's a little at a time. So for this dish, I'm going to be using sunflower oil. You can use any oil you like. So per tin of tomatoes, you need about 1 tablespoon of oil. I'm doing 2 tins, so I'm going to be using around about 2 tablespoons of oil. Medium heat. Let it get warm. When it gets sizzling, that's when you put in the tomatoes. I don't eat onion and garlic, but if you're eating onion and garlic, then you can add 1 chopped onion in there. So the chopped onion will go in first and let it sizzle. And once it's sizzled and light brown in color, that's when you eat the tomatoes. So I'm going to be adding, first of all, the peppers. And these are the big peppers. So per tin of tomatoes, you need nearly half a pepper, nicely thinly and small chopped. So I'm going to putting in 2 peppers in there. Just let it get slightly soft. You don't want to completely cook the peppers, just sizzle them for a few minutes. So now the peppers are slightly softer, but not completely soft, still crunchy. I'm going to add the tomatoes. I'm making it with 2 tins of tomatoes. So I'm going to add the other tin.
No.
So the measurement for this dish is 1 tin of tomato, 1 level teaspoon of salt, 1 level teaspoon of sugar, 1 level teaspoon of cumin and coriander, and 1 small chili, which is already in there. So I'm going to be adding, as it's 2 tins, I'm going to be adding 2 spoons of salt, 2 spoons of sugar, and 2 spoons of ground cumin. But if you look at the color of the cumin, this is roasted cumin, so it's slightly light brown, but it gives a better flavor when it's roasted and ground rather than just grinding the normal cumin. So this is the roasted cumin and ground homemade cumin. I'm going to be adding 2 spoons of this cumin. That's 2 spoons of cumin. We'll need to let this sizzle for another 5 to 7 minutes when it becomes slightly thick. I have pre-prepared the coriander, so I've chopped them up and put them in the cold water. This helps the coriander. Coriander is normally, if it's fresh coriander, it comes with a lot of soil in it. So it's very important that you have a lot of water in here. Chop the coriander, let it soak, so all the soil will just sit down and you scoop it out from the top like that. So it's very important that you don't kind of go with your hands right underneath because the soil is sitting there. So I'm just scooping this coriander out and just putting it in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the lid on and let it cook for another 5 to 7 minutes, and it will become nice and thick. So it will become like a ready-made salsa that you buy from the shops in a jar. You can make this salsa, put it in a jar and leave it for a couple of days and it will stay. And this salsa, you can eat it with tortilla or any Mexican dish. It's a very nice and easy, simple dish to make, but you can cook it in advance and leave it in the fridge. Thank you. The way this dish is served is with salsa, which is cooked now, sour cream and enchiladas. So we normally prepare a dish and we serve it to Krishna before we eat it. So I'm going to be serving this dish to Krishna. So I've got salsa in one bowl, sour cream in one bowl, and when I'm serving, I will be serving a little bit of salsa here. And it looks nice and colorful, and you just add a dollop of sour cream on top. And this is the ready dish. You can just serve it like this, but we're going to prepare this dish for Krishna. We'll serve it to Krishna and then we can have it as prasadam.